Good morning, class. For this lesson, we're going to be looking at ways of farming, mainly subsistence and commercial farming. We're going to look at what both these ways of farming are, the advantages and disadvantages, the differences, and the importance of these farmings. But before we start, we're going to look at what farming is in South Africa as a whole. We're going to look at the booklets which have been handed on your desks. Please have a pencil, pen, and highlighter to highlight any important parts. Please raise your hand up if you have any questions. Now we're going to start with what's the importance of farming in South Africa. So farming in South Africa is mainly a foster for economic growth. It helps reduce poverty and plays a role in increasing food security, meaning that our country has enough food. We're going to start with subsistence farming. Subsistence farming is a farming method where farmers grow enough crops to feed themselves and their families. They do not need large portions of land to grow their crops and livestock. They plant different types of crops and provide their own milk and eggs from their livestock. The farmers and their families usually do the work themselves as they do not make a profit and do not have money to pay workers. This type of farming is labor intensive and farmers do not use technology for their farming processes. Please highlight the first 3 points. Does anyone have a question? We're now going to look at commercial farming. This is a farming system where farmers grow crops to generate an income. In most cases, these farmers specialize in one crop which they sell. They produce it in large quantities, which requires large amounts of land. They produce large yields and high profits, and as they sell everything that is produced on these farms, they can live on the money they make and buy supplies to keep up with the demand. This form of farming uses technical inputs such as machines for plowing and harvesting. Use a highlighter to underline this section. We are going to look at the disadvantages and advantages of subsistence farming. Number one, it is cheap labor as the farmers do all the work themselves. Secondly, it is a small size of land which makes it easier to maintain. Thirdly, the farmer plants mixed crops to ensure food security. Number four, farmers do not use artificial fertilizers or pesticides to ensure that they do not damage the soil. The farmers burn grass and crops to use the ash to enrich in the soil. The preparing land does not take a lot of money. We are now going to look at disadvantages. Burning in most cases may destroy the soil. The farm sizes are small and may not be able to produce enough food for the farmers and their families. The diseases may spread easily. And number four, the family members may be unreliable or bad at farming. Number five, pests are not controlled and may spread easily. And number six, this form of farming cannot be practiced in an overpopulated area. We are now moving on to advantages and disadvantages of commercial farming. Please highlight any 2 points. We are now going to start with our advantages. It assists in improving local infrastructure such as roads for quick and safe transportation of equipment and goods. By producing on a large scale, the prices of goods are lowered, making them available to everybody. Number three, using technological equipment takes less time to perform certain agricultural activities such as plowing, harvesting, and irrigation. Number four, they produce large yields to keep up with demand. We are now going to look at the disadvantages. It destroys natural rainforest and increases deforestation. Number three, this form of farming requires large amounts of land and there isn't enough land. And number three, it is a threat to the environment as the use of chemicals to control pests may cause damage and affect the soil. We are now going to look at the differences between commercial and subsistence farming. Please put a start at the top of this page as this is really important. I am going to start with subsistence farming. Number one, this form of farming is labor intensive. Number two, this type of farm is practiced in small areas. Number three, the farmers use traditional methods. And number four, the production here is low. Number five, farmers work with their family members. And number six, farmers use natural fertilizers. We are now moving on to commercial farmers. Firstly, this form of farming is capital intensive. Number two, this type of farming is practiced on large lands. Number three, farmers use machines. And number four, the production in these farms is high. Number five, these farmers use laborers. And number six, this type of farming uses chemical fertilizers. Does anybody have a question? To conclude this set of notes, we are now going to look at the importance of subsistence and commercial farming. Number one, subsistence farming increases food supplies for for the farmers and their families. Number two, it ensures that families have enough produce and always have means to feed themselves. We are then going to look at commercial farming. Commercial farming plays a role in supplying good quality food to the region. And secondly, it plays a role in the economic development of the country through trade. We have now reached the end of our lesson. Please complete the classwork, which consists of short questions, true or false, and fill in the blanks. After you have completed the classwork, you will then start with the homework. In this homework, you will create a poster consisting of one of the forms of farming. Here you will identify the disadvantages and advantages, the difference between that form of farming and the other, and the importance of that form of farming. Thank you. Enjoy your day.